Countyfairgrounds and Cool K here. Do I have the infamous Jim on the line with me?
This is he.
Hi, Mr. Jim-Mackenzie. How are you today?
I am well. How are you?
I'm busy, normal.
Right, well, good.
Okay, so have you always been a comedian?
I guess so. I remember having fun making my cousins laugh and just all making each other laugh, so, as a kid.
Okay, so how long have you been performing for pay? Let me ask you that question.
Performing for pay since 1985.
Oh, a long time. You've been at this a long time.
A little while.
Okay. So how did you you were in high school. Did you go to college?
I went to art school, Houston Community College for graphic arts.
Okay. And how did you decide you were going to be a comedian for the rest of your life?
I don't know. Well, see, it's as many are. I guess I'm actually shy and reserved off stage, and especially during school in early years, when I learned to juggle, or not when I learned to juggle, but when I discovered that a friend of mine also knew how to juggle during high school, and so we started juggling together, and that gave me something to present and boost my confidence. And it was not so much the showing off the juggling, but being able to find comedy in it and make people laugh is what drew me to performing.
Yeah, and I always ask people how they got started, because people like to know, because there's other people out there coming up who want to get started in this kind of stuff, and they like to know how you got into it. And I mean, so you pretty much make a living, though, as a comedian, right?
Pretty much. I also am a graphic artist, and it's a flexible job. So during the week, I commute to the shows I do on the weekend, and I'm back home during the week to do, catch-up work in an office to do some graphic arts. It's stuff I could do remotely, but I don't have a current computer right now, and I haven't really a need to do that. It's working fine the way it is right now. But yeah, over half of my income is from performing.
Yeah, believe me, Jim, sometimes I wish I never saw a computer.
Right.
Anyway, do you remember what your first paid performance was?
I do not specifically. I remember my first street show, which was making, quote, some money performing in front of people, was in 85. And I made, I don't know, maybe like $7 for that. Otherwise, locally in Houston here, as a juggler, I was always promoted, or let me say promoted, I was hired just as ambient entertainment and not for my show. Okay. And so not any like real remarkable performances as far as getting paid early on, but I knew that I would much rather would do a show and make people laugh than just be juggling and interrupting people's dinner conversation or something.
So do you write your own material? I
do.
Okay.
And most of that comes from improv performing. I don't like having a very strictly scripted show. I like it to be more conversational and feel, there are definitely some jokes that are specifically written, or some lines that I've said so many times that that's the way they're said now, but I still make them feel fresh and in the moment, and as if it's the first time I'm saying it. And then a lot of the material just comes from performing it and something being inspiring in the moment while you're performing, and then that's something that gets put in the show. And that my worlds crossed early on, in that I was an art student, and I'm still performing one of the very first routines that I ever wrote, which is called three-torch juggling with an artistic flair. And I do various juggling tricks that to me represent different art movements. So there's Art Deco, Art Nouveau, and then some jokey ones in there as well. And so that was my art school combining with performing that created one of my very first routines that I still perform to this day.
Okay, I'm looking at your bio on Facebook. You work at Renaissance fairs?
Right. That's my primary place at this point.
Okay. In costume?
In what?
In costume?
In costume, yes.
Oh, okay. I never really interviewed anybody before that really works at Renaissance festivals. How did that happen? How did that happen?
That was the first place. The Texas Renaissance Festival is my home fair, and that was the first place that I saw variety entertainment performed live.
Okay.
Was going to that fair, and then that also there's one right here, by me. That was my first opportunity to get paid to develop a show. I auditioned and got a spot doing a show, but it was a path show. I wasn't on a stage, so you had to stop people, get them together around you, and be entertaining enough to make them stay around you to watch a show.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's a version of street performing. You're not just out on the street in some tourist area or something. You're in a park and you are in costume. Early on, I was trying to work with a dialect and a very Renaissance kind of thing, but as years have gone by, that's fallen by the wayside. It's you're in costume and you're at a Renaissance fair, but I'm not trying to put on any accent or anything. I'm again just doing my show with conversational style.
Are you performing on a stage?
Most fairs I am. This particular fair that it's my home fair, the Texas Renaissance Festival. I just got home last week. I'll be here for 3 weeks. Because I'm not currently available for the full run, I'm not on a stage here, so I'm doing a path show there where I'm just in the lanes, basically the street. But all the other fairs I'm booked in advance for, and yeah, it's a stage show, usually 4 shows a day, about 30 to 45-minute show.
Hey, are you a married man?
I am.
Got kids?
No kids. We've got 6 cats. 4
Good.
indoor and 2 outdoor that we can take care of.
Yeah, what do the cats think of your shows?
Well, the newest one, a kitten that my wife rescued a couple of years ago, like I said, I'm normally gone 4 days. I leave early Friday morning to catch the first flight out, and then I get back home late Monday night. And when I was gone, when I'd come back after that long weekend, she would act like she didn't recognize me for a little bit. I'd be skittish again. And then would warm back up to me, and then I'd be gone another weekend, right after that. So we did that for a little while. But no, they're generally speaking, they're all very happy to see me when I get back home.
Okay. All right. Well, what would you say to somebody who would like to do this kind of thing that you're doing, how they would get started?
Figure out, it's sort of strange, not completely necessary, but have a basic skill set that you want to perform. You don't have to, depending on what you're wanting to do out of it. So again, I'm not doing, although I'm a very, old school sort of advanced juggler. I can juggle 5 clubs and do a lot of fancy tricks, but that's not what's in the show. But it's just having the confidence in my basic juggling skills that allows me to do other things. But if you just put yourself out there, and if you're doing a comedy show like I'm doing, instead of trying to show off tricks, then just be prepared to keep the thing going. So if you drop it, it's no big deal. You can come up with drop lines or just brush it off. Just don't let it phase you. Just keep plugging along. Mm-hmm. And for me, it was the juggling skill was what gave me an excuse to do something. I'm not just doing straight stand-up. And when you're doing a fair show, seeing that it's a juggler or seeing that someone's got some props and, trying to spark some curiosity to see what's going to go on is helpful just to get the show started. So if you can just work out a basic kind of outline. It's good to have, for me, I prefer having a good beginning, middle, and end. So you've got some basic little warm-up tricks to be doing while people are showing up that you don't need a full crowd to see, but it's the things you can do that make it interesting for people to come see what's going on. And then a middle section where you're doing some good solid stuff that develops a rapport with the audience and making them laugh and whatnot. And then you'll just have a closing trick that something is in some ways spectacular that's, feels like a good finish. And just you figure out, a lot of performers will just do a whole bunch of different props, just going from prop to prop to prop, and just have a couple of things they do with it. And I early on developed a different style in which I tried to do as much material out of just a couple of props as possible. And I was just discussing, coming back to the Texas Renaissance Festival where I'm on the path, that comes from that street mindset of people are just standing there watching you. They weren't expecting to see a show. You're kind of a surprise. And anytime you finish a trick with a prop is an opportunity for them to say, all right, that was good, and just walk off. So you need to find a way to make those transitions smooth and not try to have a whole bunch of transitions, because anytime you're doing that, that's a chance for the audience to say, yep, okay, that was cool. It's commercial. Let's go do something else now.
Hey, Jim, I also have to ask this question, and I ask all my entertainers this question.
Sure.
Have you ever had any bad experiences with this that made you rethink that maybe you didn't want to do it?
No, not that I didn't want to do it. There's been trials and errors along the way, but nothing that's ever made me think, well, no, that's not what I want to do.
Okay. All right, so how do people reach you if they're interested maybe in booking you, and what kind of events would you like to be booked in?
Well, I would like to do some corporate stuff again that I started to do here in Houston a while back. And again, what's weird is the talent agencies here mostly just book ambient entertainment if you're a juggler, basically, which is what I kind of got billed as early on. That's why my tagline now actually is comedian with mad skills. And I do up to an hour comedy variety show. And the main thing in the show is I don't do any magic. I wanted early on for everything I do to be real and be able to say, because I do sword swallowing and things that people would want to believe is a trick or fake. So I early on decided I'm doing no magic, and people leave saying it was a great magic show because they don't know what else to call it. It's a variety show, but it's a comedy variety show. And again, just the agencies here, and when I've tried to tell them how much magic would I need to do for you to feel comfortable booking me as a magician, because magicians get booked as shows all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm doing that. I'm just pulling the greatest magic trick off in the world, and that I'm not doing any magic, and people still think it was a great magic show. So corporate stuff, I've done some of. I just haven't really pursued it because, again, I haven't had any local agencies that have been pushing that. And I've always tried to tell them, if someone's just asking generically for a magician, show them my video and see if that's, fits their bill. But I'm on Facebook at Facebook/Jim's Show. It's JIMSSHOW.
Okay.
And then all the other social media is at the jim-mackenzie. I'm on Instagram, the X, formerly known as Twitter, which I'm not really on. I just read some stuff occasionally. And YouTube they're all at the Jim Mackenzie, and Mackenzie is MacKenzie.
Okay.
And then I do have a website that's just jim-mackenzie.com, but it's just a basic kind of placeholder. I haven't updated it recently. I need to get back on that. I was doing a lot of performances actually in burlesque shows, which were a good theater setting, and was really enjoying that. And then when I started pushing more towards Renaissance festivals, they would see the video or photos of me in a flashy suit on stage, and they would say, well, this is a Renaissance festival, you need a Renaissance costume. I was like, yeah, I have that. So when I started pushing Renaissance festivals more, I didn't keep up with updating the website as much. So, and especially after COVID, it's got old things on it, but it's there, and people can contact me through that. My email is occupant@jim-mackenzie.com.
Okay, well, I've enjoyed talking to you, Mr. Mackenzie, and we'll get this up, and hopefully it'll help you get some bookings.
Okay. I appreciate the time, and thank you for reaching out to me.
Bye-bye.
Bye.